Alright, so we're going to be going over 3 replays that Joachim sent me. Mr. Alfredo, we're just going to call you. I don't think I pronounce your name perfectly in, the Scandinavian way, so I'm just going to call you Alfredo, which is your name, your anonymized name. But we got Mr. Alfredo here, right, on the Mannerheim line, and you played this game fine, man, and this is mostly going to be for you, but I'm going to post it just because I want to show people other people's videos. I think it's informative, and again, we're going to be going through this so fast just to get to the part where I think you could have played it better. Just to show everyone, right? Like, this isn't going to be like a 15-minute long video, right? We're going to skip all the way ahead, and I know a lot of people hate when I do this, but we're just here to review the replay, right? So this adjustment you make here is fine, man. It's just at this point, like if you pause, right? What you have to be looking at when you're playing this game, and again, we're already 3.5 minutes into this game, so while we just ran through that in about 20 seconds, you have had 3.5 minutes to kind of get to the situation. So you begin to lose focus. At least for me personally, I begin to lose focus the longer the game goes on. So the more I can focus on being focused, you know what I mean? Like literally focus on focusing, right? In your battles, the better off you're going to be. Like, just always be looking at the map and just telling yourself, okay, I need to look at the map. I need to adjust. Where do I need to be in the next minute? What is going to happen? And it's very likely to me, like, this is a thing, man. I've been playing this game for years, so when I look at the map, it's very rare that I misplay it, I will say, for the most part. And what I mean by this is I already know what's going to happen here, right? I know based on the map and the positions these people are in that it's very likely, because you have a light tank over here and also a VK, and possibly this Leo even goes like this or something like that. It's very likely what's going to happen here based on their HP and their tanks and all, that the T-34 is going to die very soon because he's in a bad place. He's going to probably get cleaned up by these two guys here. And then this Tiger, or rather this T-52, is going to end up going like this because he's probably going to get spotted, or he's just going to sit there and not shoot because he's passive scouting. And then this Tiger 1 over here is just in a really bad area, in my opinion. Like, I don't even think this guy really has a good angle at all. So what's going to happen here in the next couple of minutes is these guys are going to push in like this. And they might come to here, something like that. So Alfredo goes back to here, right? He goes back to this area. In this situation, I would have been here. I would have been back over here already because your support is all right in here. See how you have all these guys, like you don't even have anyone in the G area. And this is just something that you have to plan out, right? Like, this isn't a bad area in certain situations. This isn't a bad area in certain situations. But given what's going on the map, most of your team is north. And so I would have went to here. That's just where I would have been personally. I'm not even sure. I might have still been like in the mid, maybe, whatever, because we all play differently, right? But if I were sitting here trying to get shots of the heavies at this moment in the game, I would have put myself behind this bush right here and behind this rock. And then once these guys pushed in, I could have even ran away even more. So that's the only thing here. I think you lost a lot of HP at the beginning. Right, so again, these aren't going to be any kind of proper videos, guys. So I don't want anybody, saying, hey, Whirls, you're fast forwarding it, you're making me dizzy, whatever. We're just replay reviewing here, and we have 3 to do. So this is just for educational purposes, right? I'm not trying to, like, clickbait and get a bunch of you guys to view the video and all. This is just for those that kind of want to get better at the game. So Alfredo's going to come back, and he has the IS here, right? He's going to take some shots at the IS. Now, this is fine. It's just you don't have the gun depression here, and you're going to end up getting whacked. The BZ-58 has really good damage per shot, and now you're in a situation where you've lost all your engine power, and you're getting ripped apart by the T-52. And like I said, man, this isn't the worst area to go. Like, your team was getting stomped. It is what it is. You guys even lost the north. But that's the only thing about your Mannerheim game that I would have done differently. It was just, they had too many numbers in the south, and I think what you needed to do instead was come back to here, right? Had you had more support here, this wouldn't necessarily be the worst play, It's just, this is something that over years of experience, you kind of just pick up and you're like, I can't even get back to here. Like, I have to just run away at this point and get way to the back. And get as much damage as I can while these guys are pushing in. So that's the only one with the Mannerheim. The only problem I saw with the Mannerheim game was just your end play there. I think you just didn't go far enough back. You probably could have gotten another clip of damage if you just went back further. But the thing is, man, like, if you have a decent game, something you have to realize is the way the matchmaking is, I don't know how else to explain this, but like, having a decent game is normal. Like, not every game is going to be great because of the matchmaking. A lot of times what happens is you get these 5-minute games, and I think sometimes people's expectations are also too high, and it's something that you have to remember, right? Like, the matchmaker is not made to balance the games perfectly. In fact, it usually fails at doing that most of the time. Like, more times than not, you're going to get into games that are not balanced, and you have to figure out and adapt and like learn how to adjust to those situations like that on the fly every time. You know, bada bing, bada boom, you got to do it immediately. So let's take a look at your Westfield game. By the way, you sent me a replay on that really tiny condensed map, Wide Park. Your game on Wide Park was fine, man. I didn't see any problems. Like, you played it a little bit differently than how I would have played it, but you did fine on Wide Park. I didn't see any problems with the way you played Wide Park. So you did like 1,000 damage and like a few hundred spotting. It's Wide Park, man. You know, it's not like a great map for lights, but I think you played it fine. And all these games were in the 12T, by the way, just for all the viewers. So this game you played fine. You're running it with Binox. You came to the bush that Steel Guts always likes to use and that I like to use subsequently now. We outspot the VK2801-105. That's perfect. You're also doing well to spot people over here with the Binox. I know you picked up some spotting damage over here. I think you spotted a couple other people. So you spot the Panther coming in. 12T shouldn't be your spot. That wouldn't really make sense. But somehow it is. I didn't even think it was. But because you're running Binox, I guess, actually that does make sense because your view range is probably like 500. So I guess you picked up the 12T as well, which is wild. So I guess he probably doesn't have the greatest concealment, maybe. Like, I feel like if the 12T really had a good crew, maybe you wouldn't have spotted him. But pick up 40 TP. Okay, it's good. And the spotting is great here, man. I mean, this is a perfect area. The only thing I think you kind of mess up is I think you go out of the bushes here, end up getting lit or something. So M6 is here. So you stop. You get spotted here somehow. Just waiting for that to happen. Let's see what happens here. Okay, SU just YOLOs you. Yeah, and you just didn't adjust to it in time, man. That's all that was. That's all that was. This is just awareness, and you didn't see him coming, which is, I mean, that's not the worst thing. Like, you just have to be paying attention. Sometimes you're looking this way, right? And you're trying to see like who you're spotting. And you just missed the SU-100, like making a beeline for you kind of thing. And this happens in that area of the map. A lot of people will try and push that. So I'm always looking in front of me to see who's coming. And if you ran out of there sooner, you might have only taken one shot. You luckily bounced the VK, or was this your own VK or whatever happened there? But you lost all your HP, man. And here's what I noticed specifically about your Westfield game. I think Westfield is a great map to do spotting. But in this situation, I wouldn't be sitting here. Like, the thing is, man, I feel like you really try and spot as much as you can. You're really trying to play, how can I say, for the team and not for yourself. But sometimes in these games, you have to play for yourself and do damage, man. And at this point, once all I saw was the Artie out here, instead of coming up here, like, this isn't necessarily the wrong play, right? You're trying to adjust to this as best you can. And I've spoken before how these like pits right here are pretty good to pull up and take shots, but at this point, given that this is just an Artie out here, you have Arties. Like, look, you have an Artie, and the VK28, and that's it. I would have already been back here with the Artie, behind this Artie, and pretty much behind this Artie as well, just waiting for these guys to push. Because there's a really nice corner you can get to right here that has all these trees you can knock, and you can go solid bush, and then you can also come down into this little pit right here with Artie. I would have already been back there. I wouldn't have even bothered. And again, this is just another one of those situations where I think you didn't go far enough back. Like, sometimes it's better to go too far back and then move up, but if you don't go far enough back in the first place, you're going to get freaking, whacked, and you're not going to have a good time. So that's the only thing I see here, man, is two mistakes. You didn't pick up the SU-100M1 or whatever it was, YOLOing at you. That's kind of common in that area. Just, you have to pay attention to people. You have to be like always looking in front of you, man. Because it's just, people like often do that. I can't tell you the amount of times someone has like YOLO'd into that area and I have to run away. It probably happens like a third of the time I sit in that bush, maybe even more. But your mindset, I think, is just wrong in some of these games. And that's not to, it's not that you are playing really bad. It's just you're playing too much for the team in these situations. And you're trying to go, I know you like eventually retreated down to here and you're like trying to sit in the bush. Dude, I would have been here. Like, that's just, I would have already been here and would have been shooting everyone that was coming in the best I can and just doing damage rather than trying to spot. Because this game is beyond spotting. If you're going to bring this game back, you have to do damage. All you have is Artie here. Like, you never want to be greedy. You always want to play for the team. But there comes a point where you just have to do damage. Like, if you're even going to bring the game, if you're going to be close to bringing the game back, you have to do damage. And the 12T is very good at that. The 12T is very good. You have the APCRs, right? And the burst damage. And I think the 12T is very good at clipping people out as they come in. And that's what I would have been doing. So right now in this game, I would have been over here. That's really it. I'm trying to add a lot more to that, but that's really it, man. It's your only mistake. That's your second mistake in this game. And again, I make mistakes every game, but that's where I would have been instead of here. And then you would have been able to clean up this Panther easy. You would have been able to get shots at the 28, 101, 105 by now. You would have been able to get through 2 clips by now, and you could have cleaned both of these guys up. And then the 40 TP is kind of slow. You could have brought this game back, man. 40 TP came around. So, honestly, man, if you made this play and went back to here, you could have won this game. Truly. I don't want to hurt your feelings, but, like, you had a chance to win this game if you were just here. And that's the thing is, like, people will insult you. Light tank, why are you sitting behind the RD? LT, WTF, LT, why are you not spotting? And it's just like, you got to ignore these people, man. Because I'm telling you, like, the only way you were going to bring this game back is if you were sitting back here doing damage and just kind of let your RD be like the bait, right? If GW Panther is not going to pay attention, let him spot. 28, 101, 105 is out here too. Kind of spotting. Dude, just get in the back. Just get in the back and do damage. The 12T can do it, right? So that's it with this one, man. You see what I mean? You're trying to spot, and really there's no one to spot for except the VK 28, 01, 105 at this point. Like, there's just nothing really. So you have to get into a spot, into an area on the map where you can do damage. Other than that, you did it fine at the beginning, man. You went into the right bush. You're trying to spot. You're trying to adjust. And that's what I like to see. I mean, you're better than most by making the plays you're at least trying to make, right? You're adjusting the situation. You're reading the map. You're going, all right, how do I adjust to this? And that's what, like, I looked like you a couple years ago, man. You know, you just learn. As you keep playing, you learn and you learn and you learn. And this is a situation where you got to park in K1, man. It's really that simple. If the enemy team wasn't pushing in with as many people as quick, you can be up a little further. But in this situation, camp K1, clip people out in the 12T, bring the game back, win it. You know what I mean? So that's Westfield. Man, my throat's getting dry. And we'll look at Mound Pass now. So what are we at? 13 minutes? That's not bad. I think we're doing pretty well. Again, no fanciness here, guys. I'm not skipping anything. We're fast forwarding through all these videos. We're not cutting anything. This is how I like to make my content. I know a lot of people don't like to subscribe because of it, but this is the way I make my videos, man. You know, I got a full-time job, so I don't want to be like working all day to edit videos. So this is just for if you guys want to get better at the game, right? So keep that in mind. And we'll look at this final replay. And I think we have a similar situation in this one as well, my man. So let's take a look at this one. You're going to make me want to play the 12T again. Because, oh, man, I really think you could have won that game, man. I really, really think you could have won that game. It was one of those games where, like, I think it was carryable. So, Mountain Pass, garbage map, man, for LTs, right? You have to do damage on this map. And again, I think you try to get into these areas where you're like trying to spot. And on Mountain Pass, don't bother, man. I'm telling you. Like, it would have been better off. You're fine here. You did a lot of spotting. You're giving the team good information, but sometimes information is good. Sometimes it isn't. I've explained this on Prokhorovka, where on one of my proc videos, people were like, the spots you're getting are useless, Whirls, you know, and I've 3-marked my T100 LT, so I'm a better player than you. And I'm like, that's great, man. Hip hip hooray. I'm happy for you. Like, I don't really care if players are better than me, but to come into the chat and insult people, you know, it's just like, why, man? Like, if you're a better player, great. Like, I have no problem admitting that I'm only a slightly above average player. Like, I don't consider myself a unicum at all. But the phrase that this person actually said was not necessarily wrong. The spots you're getting are useless. On Prokhorovka, I would argue they're definitely not, because you want information on people that are coming to the hill. It's no different than on Mountain Pass. You do want some information on people, so what your play wasn't necessarily wrong. It's just on this map, because it's so condensed, you can get here to like this area right here. See this area right here? You can come here, get initial shots on people that are coming in, and then run away. So you could have already had maybe like 800 or 900 damage if it went well, right? Maybe 1,000 damage, because it's a 5-6 game. Or actually, it's a 4-5-6 game. If it's a tier 8 game, this play's probably better, you know? But these are just things you pick up, and again, as critical as I might be, or as critical as people are of me, that phrase isn't necessarily wrong, just not on Prokhorovka. Right, what this guy said, your spots are useless. I would argue absolutely not. You really want to know who's going to the hill on Prokhorovka, because it's the most important part of the map. But on Mountain Pass, this is a corridor map. It's not a wide open map. So it's a little bit different. And plus, it's a low tier game. You're top tier in the 12T, which is a monstrous tank for tier 6. I would have been over here with APCRs loaded and would have clipped people out as they're coming in. And then you can retreat. Now, here you adjust to it fine. It's just you have to, again, similar to the way it was in the first battle. Remember I told you on Mannerheim, you just didn't go back far enough. Here, kind of a similar situation, although on Mountain Pass it's really annoying because you're either here, like you're either here on Mountain Pass or you're way back here. Like there's no in between. And I think you did this fine. I would have loaded the APCRs for this just because it's like heavy tanks coming in and stuff. But you did okay here. It's just you're going to end up getting overwhelmed because you lost the entire map, right? And VK ends up whacking you here. And this is just one of those situations, man, where if you're reading this right, like look at all the red. Like you lost this entire portion of the map is gone. And at this point, I would have been in like J0 or K0. I would have been in here already. Or I would have went up to where the Panzer 38 is, kind of spotted these guys as they were coming in, and then try and run back to here. But honestly, with how quickly this enemy team is pushing in, K0, J0, man. LT, WTF, LT, why are you not spotting? Go pound salt, man. That's what you can tell them. The Whirls said for me to tell you that you can go pound salt. Because look, man, if it's like 8 to 11, 9 to 11, understandable. It's 4 to 11 right now. J0, K0, clip people out, do damage, lose the game, get to the next one, my man. Nothing you could do. So that's all. I think you're just trying to play too much for the team in a lot of these battles, man. You're trying to like emphasize spotting. By the time I release this video, I don't know when it will be, but remember when we had the videos with Religion of Rage, and I emphasized if you went to his video, I commented on his video and said, I love the pyramid thing you talk about. Damage, spotting damage. So damage at the top of the pyramid, spotting damage in the middle, whatever down here, doesn't matter. We didn't even talk about it. But I really, really like that, right? You got to emphasize damage first and then spotting damage. Doesn't mean you have to do that in that particular order. It just means you're not emphasizing damage enough, in my opinion. The 12T is a monstrous tank to do damage in. Just do damage, man. Don't make it seem like it's like you're trying too much to play for the team to the point where it's like you're emphasizing it way too much. It almost looks like you're doing it on purpose, like trying to spot too much. Like just do damage, man. You know, you're not being a greedy person by doing damage when it's 11 to 4, 4 to 11. You know, and I honestly would commend you. I think is the right word I'm looking for trying to still spot. Like, you emphasize spotting so much. That's really, really good. It's just, especially on maps like Mountain Pass, you don't need it, man. You need to use what the 12T can do. Use the clip and do damage, man. Like, double push up and just do some freaking damage. Load the APCRs and be greedy. Be greedy. LT, WTF. Go pound salt, man. You know? Like, just tell these people to F off, man. Don't curse in the chat. But seriously, man. You know, you need to play more for damage. You know? You're a very selfless person. The way you play. Don't be like this way, man. I'm not saying be greedy AF every single game, but you're too selfless, man. Do damage, you know? Do damage here. Look, you don't even have any spotting. Like, this isn't a spotting map. It's Mountain Pass, man. That's it. We don't have end plates for any of these videos, but hopefully this helps you guys out, right? And yeah, Alfredo, man, just do damage, bro. That's all I can tell you. I know I said that like 10 times, but that's what you got to do in this game when the games are looking like this. So I hope that helps you out, my man. That's all I'm seeing. Again, the other one you sent me on that like super condensed map, I told you that you played it fine, man. You played it completely fine. So don't worry about that game. And again, overall, you're not playing bad. You're adjusting. You're doing fine, man. But use your gun. Hope that helps. Catch you for the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.